Welcome back to season 6 of Stand Up and Stand Out. Parte y destacate. Bienvenidos a todos. We have another amazing guest to kick us off this season. I am so privileged and blessed to welcome my friend and fellow author, Karen Ann Bulluck. Karen Ann Bulluck is a risk-taking coach, speaker, author, and founder of Daring to Transcend. She partners with women leaders to push beyond limits in their leadership, career, and lives so that they can make an extraordinary impact. Karen was the first woman promoted to Executive Vice President at AM Best Company. Her career was marked with taking the risks that made many cross-disciplinary changes and have an impact on a wide variety of people and processes. Welcome, Karen. So good to see you.
Thanks, Nikki. I'm really excited to be here. I love spending time with you.
We have such parallel paths, and it's so wonderful to see, you continue to blossom as an author. It's incredible that now you are not only an engaging and inspiring speaker, but now 5-time best-selling author, and your recent book of The Pursuing Truth, which is part of the Ascending Ladder series. Are you so excited for this book launch? Has it been just an amazing journey?
It's been incredible. I'm overwhelmed by the amount of support and outreach that I've gotten. And plus that, the great reviews that I've gotten from the book. This second book in the series was so much fun to write. Probably more fun to write than the first one because I got to expand my creativity and try different techniques and things to do in this book. So it was really just a lot of fun. And I honestly just love the book.
If you guys missed it, don't forget to check out the first book in the series, which is Discovering Power. Both books are phenomenal. And the thing I really like is that, a lot of speakers and coaches these days were writing nonfiction books, but you write fiction, which is so inspiring. So maybe share a little bit with our audience why you picked fiction for your books.
Well, I always say that fiction picked me rather than me picking fiction. So when I first left my corporate job, I decided that I was, going to be a coach and I was going to talk about women's leadership and, all of that fun stuff. And so I started to write a book about women's leadership. And honestly, I was bored out of my mind. I was bored with the book. I felt like I had nothing interesting new to say anyway. And so I kind of abandoned the project and I thought, well, let me just think about this for a little bit longer. And then one day I went out, I was taking a walk. And as I'm walking along, it was a beautiful day, bebopping along, and I started hearing this story. I started to hear the first part of Discovering Power, the book you just mentioned, which is the first book of the series. And what I heard that day actually became the prologue of the book because it was sort of this situation where a woman executive was on the board of directors of a company and they were all voting for some things that she didn't want them to vote for. And she didn't know what to do because it was her very first board meeting and all that stuff. And it was just like, oh no, what do I do? And it was really talking about the conflicts that a lot of people have. And I'm going to say women in particular, but I know men have it too, is that crisis of conscience when we feel like we're in a situation where the organization's going one direction and our values are someplace else. And how do we manage that conflict? That was really what the original story and Discovering Power was about and started from that. So I loved writing fiction because I could bring in different points of view. I could bring in different scenarios, things that I had experienced, things that other people had experienced, but I could put it all in a fictional story so that I could explore possibilities, right? Cheryl, the heroine, could try things that people don't always try and do in corporate settings.
There were a lot of parallels in the book to experiences I had in my career, both books actually. And it was a little surreal because it was so vivid in the fiction, and the telling of the story. And I just really loved your writing. But at the same time, I had a couple of flashbacks where I could, see myself in some of those same situations where I was struggling to be true to myself, my morals, my beliefs, while also trying to, make my job, my boss, my, employees all happy. So did you pull from your experience in your career as well to find some of these big cliffhanger moments that happen throughout the books?
Of course, I pulled from my experiences. I also pulled from experiences that my friends have had, my husband had, other people. So it's not just my experience. It's almost like pulling from the cumulative corporate experience, I want to say, because there was a lot of stuff that wasn't specific to my career that I specifically experienced, but I knew other people had. So that was one of the things I really loved about fiction, is that I could use a variety of different experiences and perspectives. It wasn't just, my point of view.
And there are so many twists and turns through both books. We won't do any spoilers because we want folks to go out and grab the books. But I really liked the lead character, Cheryl's approach to a lot of things. And it made me reflect also on my career in ways of how could I have handled certain things better. And I really liked that there was still this really great career lesson, leadership lesson, again, not just for women, but for men too, about how to rethink the way that we've been leading. And you work mostly with women leaders. So maybe talk about that crossover between, how you coach women to kind of approach these situations differently than maybe in the past.
One of the two things that I talk about mainly, one of them is risk taking. And I mean strategic risk taking, not recklessness. And I always want to make that clarification, because a lot of women honestly hear the word risk taking and they go, "Oh no, I don't take risk. Risk taking is something when you do something crazy," and it's not. Strategic risk taking is doing something that's outside of your comfort zone. And so I coach women to go outside of their comfort zone and help them find ways to do that the way Cheryl did in the book. I mean, obviously the situations are different, but one of the things I love about Cheryl in both books is she's very creative. And that's the other aspect of risk taking, is being creative, being innovative, and being willing to try something totally new. And she does that in both books. The second book gets a little bit more into her personal life, where she has to get creative there too, because the second book actually gets more into how pursuing truth, personal and professional lives intertwine sometimes and overlap. And we like to think we can always keep those things separately, but we can't always. And there's a lot of overlap, which is what I love about book 2, is it gets in a little bit more into the personal side of things instead of just business, although there's business aspects of it too. But that's another aspect of the coaching that I do, is our personal lives are entwined with our business lives. Whether you're in corporate or you're an entrepreneur, they're still intertwined, and making sure that those things are in balance and aligned and working for you across the board, not just your career, but your personal life too, is a really important part of having a very fulfilling and successful life, in my opinion.
This is, again, where there's so many parallels between our coaching, which I love, is it's so important, and people say work-life balance, but I really like to use work-life harmony, right? It's how do we make sure that both sides are getting the attention that they need in the time that they need, and no one thing is taking over from the other. And for way too long, we were told, leave your emotions at the door when you come to work, like whatever happened at home, just ignore it and just come in and do your job. But it's really not possible as human beings, good and bad. Like, many good things happen to us, which give us energy and get us excited to get up in the morning. So I am so glad that you're continuing to open this doorway for everybody to be able to start really just being genuine and understanding that yin and yang of true life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. We cannot leave, as much as we want to leave the office at the office and our personal lives at home. We're human beings, and we cannot separate those things. And you're right. I don't like the word work-life balance either, because it sounds like you're doing a juggling act where it really needs to be integrated. And one of the principles that I work with people on is integrating the whole self, which means integrating all aspects of yourself into all parts of your life. It doesn't mean being inappropriate in any one situation. Obviously, there's boundaries, right? But we need to integrate. We need to bring the best of all of ourselves to the office and to home. And if we're trying to segment things, we lose some essential aspect of ourselves.
I believe it, because it's not just sort of the downside of emotions, but there's the upside too. It's bringing excitement, it's bringing energy, it's bringing positivity into the world as well. And, if I just came into work and I was kind of robotic, absolutely no emotions, people would always tell me they didn't like me and and they didn't want to be around me because now it seems negative, even though, I'm just trying my best to be neutral. And so I think as if we can keep focusing on the positive emotions and energy that we can bring to these environments, and share of ourselves, the more vulnerable we are as leaders, the more, our employees can also get to know us and, again, feel that loyalty and trust that they, aren't getting taken advantage of, because I know that's kind of a big concern with a lot of employees these days.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the things I love about Cheryl and her journey is there's a lot about building trust. Some in discovering power, more in pursuing truth, because she's actually having to dig into some mysteries, both at work and at home. And I won't spoil it past that, but there is the aspect of building trust and getting to the heart of things. And I think book 3 I'm writing now, so this is a trilogy and I'm writing book 3 now. And I feel like the trust aspect is going to be an even bigger part in book 3, because trusting your leaders is exceptionally important in the office, in the corporate environment. And a lot of people don't, as we know. But one of the reasons that we don't trust our leaders is because the real truth is a lot of leaders don't trust themselves. And our trust really starts with ourselves. And Cheryl is going on that journey because she learned to start to trust herself with discovering power. And she was trying to uncover more of it as she grows through pursuing truth. And so I feel like I'm suspecting that there's going to be trust issues and things that come up in book 3. I'm playing around with it, and there's going to be some different characters that come to the forefront there too. So it's really interesting, but trust is such an essential aspect of everything that we do. And yet it's so often lacking.
It is. And, it's not just the lead character that I like in these books. It's also the younger female characters as well. And there's kind of 2 different ones in the different books with different issues that they're trying to. But I could also see myself in the younger characters. I could see myself in those younger states of wanting to do well, trying to exceed, misunderstanding people, misunderstanding myself and what it was going to take to get ahead. And so I really like that there's also this dichotomy between, Cheryl as the older, more established, leader, but also these younger women and how she's mentoring them and helping them, regardless of, her direct relationship with them, from a company perspective. But I really like that we can be a leader to anyone at any time just by stepping, again, out of our comfort zone, being more vulnerable. So I really appreciate those characters as well.
Well, that's great, because those characters are going to get starring roles in book 3. So I will give you a little sneak preview that in book 3, in book 1, it was told only from Cheryl's point of view. She was the main character. In book 2, Pursuing Truth, that just came out, there's 3 points of view. One is Cheryl, one is her husband, and one is a young woman that works with her husband named Alicia. And the third book is going to be, Alicia is going to come back in book 3. And of course, Cheryl is. And then Keisha, who was a kind of a big secondary player in the books 1 and 2, is going to get a starring role in book 3. So.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nikki Green, and I am a life and business resiliency expert. I have been helping people for over 2 decades overcome their challenges and achieve their life and business goals. I wrote Chameleon Mindset for others seeking clarity while acclimating to new situations. This entertaining yet research-based guide to transitions will open your mind to unique strategies for finding purpose and achieving your goals. Through my new book, you will create the happy life you desire with 5 philosophies for change, beginning with C for creative adaptability. Move from resistance to resilience by assessing and adjusting your risk tolerance. The practical lessons in Chameleon Mindset will help you shift your mindset, sharpen your skill set, and overcome the things holding you back from dealing with change. we'll have the new online course coming soon. There are half a dozen modules in total, but the way you choose to pursue your destiny, it's up to you. Each module can be done independently or repeated as necessary to tackle new obstacles and new goals in your life. And you can earn extra chameleon coins for uncovering them. What are chameleon coins, you might ask? These are reward XP that you can earn to purchase additional chameleon mindset benefits as you progress through the course. You can get swag, group coaching, one-on-one coaching, exclusive event tickets, and networking opportunities. And if you collect enough coins, you can even earn a full-day VIP intensive with me to work solely on your goals. And by joining the Chameleon Crew, you will also gain access to my network of thousands of influential people around the world with expertise to help you on your business, your personal endeavors, health and fitness, and so much more. Reserve a copy today and click below to be added to our subscriber list. We'll be on the edge of our seats until we hear more about that one. Well, you have this real central theme of risk-taking, not just in your writing, but in your speaking and your coaching. So maybe what has inspired you to really focus on that, and how has it helped you sort of throughout your career or your personal life? But why is this such a central theme for you?
Well, it took me a while to actually come to this conclusion that risk-taking is really where my sweet spot is, because I have naturally taken risks over my life that I didn't even realize that I was doing until I kind of went back and looked at things in hindsight. But when you talk about my bio, I did work 30 years for the same company. And a lot of people say, well, what's risk-taking about that? But I have to say, I did so many different jobs within that company. It was amazing. And what I realized is that I was always willing to raise my hand and say, hey, I'll try it. I went and managed departments that I had no idea what they did or how to do it. My boss said one time, well, yeah, let's take over the shipping and printing area. We need new printing equipment. We need an overhaul. We need this. And I was like, okay, what did I know about it? I knew nothing about it, nothing. But I was always willing to learn and to take the risk to get out of my comfort zone and try something new. And then I was also an aerobatic pilot. So I used to turn airplanes upside down, which is actually kind of bordering on the reckless part of risky, I will be freely admit. But there is something so exhilarating about doing that and having that risk. And what I realized is that is where I found my joy. And that's where I have found my success and fulfillment in my life through risk-taking. And I see a lot of women who don't do it a lot because we're socialized not to. I mean, there's a lot, there's a lot of very valid reasons why women don't take the risks that they need to take. And it's not their fault. I'm not blaming, I'm not saying, everybody's a bunch of wimps or anything, right? Well, because we're not. Women are strong, brave people in a lot of ways. But there's another level of strategic risk-taking that they could take that would help a lot of women go to the next level. And that's really where I want to see. And that's really where I want to help, because I know there are so many women out there that have so much to offer the world, and they're not really offering all that they could because it's hard for them to take risks, and they might not have people in their life that are encouraging them to, or they may not know how to, or they might just be afraid and need someone to have support. And that's what I want to do, both through my coaching, my speaking, and through my writing. I want to help women really make the impact that they're here to make in the world.
I really love that, because there is a lot of pressure on women, I think, a lot of times, because so often we're the caregivers. Maybe it's a partner, maybe it's kids, maybe it's four-legged kids, maybe it's elderly parents, right, that are aging and need more assistance. But so often that additional level of energy and support we have to give out to others. And so sometimes it means we take a back seat on the things that we need personally, professionally. And so really allowing people to find that balance, that we don't have to do it all. And sometimes we do need to do the things we want to do. And I like that balance too of there's risk-taking in your career and strategically doing it. And I did the same thing. I spent 10 years at Cisco, and I had a new job every 12 to 18 months. And I did all kinds of stuff I had no idea I was ever going to do. but I grew and I learned. And I really want to emphasize this for young women because there's a lot of trends on TikTok and stuff about lazy girl jobs and just doing, what you've been told to do. But I want people to rethink this about don't just do what you're told to do because that's what you're getting paid to do. What do you want out of the experience? What else can you go after that benefits you? Don't worry about this like, I've got to make an even trade between this dollar and this minute of my life, but more like, what else can we go after that doesn't just serve me maybe in this moment, but can continue to serve me throughout my career, throughout my personal life, any number of things of relationships, networking, right? Opening businesses. So I love that this is your focus. And I think it's really important because a lot of messaging right now is continuing to go even to the next generation of let's stay in your comfort zone. Don't do anything extra. And it's not always about pay. Sometimes it's about experience. It's about personal growth.
Yeah. Money has nothing to do with money. I mean, money's important. Money pays our bills. We need it. It's the currency of our lives. But fulfillment, feeling satisfied, feeling like you're contributing, that's so much more important than money. And sometimes you're contributing more than you're getting paid. There's no doubt about that. I did that at times in my career, but it was, to your point, it was a long-term play. And it was a long-term play both for me personally, as well as for my career. There were times when I was doing more than I was getting paid for in my career, but eventually it caught up. Eventually it paid off. But where it really paid off is I felt really good about what I was doing. I was learning, I was growing, I was helping other people, I was contributing to the organization, I was making the people around me happier, and we were working together as a team, all of those things. And we really sometimes as a society undervalue that. We focus so much on, okay, am I getting paid what I'm worth? And under no circumstances I'm saying that we should run around saying, I'm happy to volunteer and do stuff, without getting paid what I'm worth. That's not what I'm saying. But it isn't everything. To your point, there's harmony and there's a yin and yang with that too. There's a give and take. And sometimes you give more than you're getting, and sometimes you'll get more than you're giving. But if you're always expecting to get more than you're giving, you're not going to get very much.
It's just not going to work that way. Oh my goodness. Well, time always flies too quickly in these interviews. And, you and I can sit and we'll have a glass of wine and we'll celebrate this wonderful book and the next ones to come. I know there's going to be so many opportunities. I can't wait to see you in person soon here as we go spend some time with our mentor and continue to elevate our careers. Before we sign off, I know you have so many amazing things going on, but where can people find you and where can they get your wonderful new book?
Well, they can get my wonderful new book on Amazon. It's Pursuing Truth. You can also go, if you want more information about the series, about how to find out about book 3 and all of that stuff, you can go to ascendingladders.com because it's the series name, Ascending Ladders. And you can sign up for my newsletter and get information about the book, information about events that I'm hosting. I'm regularly hosting either LinkedIn audios or other audio events for people. I read parts of the book and we talk about the book because I want the books to be more than just something you read and put down. I want conversations about them because I think the topics and the things in the book are worthy of more conversation. You also can have an opportunity to get the journal that goes along with Discovering Power. The one for Pursuing Truth isn't ready quite yet. So check out ascendingladders.com or connect with me on LinkedIn is another great way to get in touch with me.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, we will put all of that in the show notes so everyone has the links. Absolutely run out, get this book. You will love it. Give it to a girlfriend or a boyfriend or someone in your, working situation because it's a really good one. And I think it tells a great story that can be really meaningful for all of us. So thank you so much for joining us today, Karen.
Thank you so much for having me, Nikki. Like you said, we could talk for hours. I always love conversations with you and I can't wait to see you in person sometime soon.
Thanks everyone for joining us today for another episode of Stand Up and Stand Out. You know you can catch us where all the cool kids hang out that do podcasts on all the major platforms. And if you want to connect with Nikki directly, you can get a hold of me on my personal site, thenikkigreen360.com. There you can check out my website, you can see any of my new books, you can learn more about this podcast, and follow us on social. Can't wait to hear from you, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.